How did my husband stay so calm while I was crying in the office tower lobby, holding papers with our kids' names on them? Why did everyone look at me like I was the problem when I kept saying I only wanted love? What happens when the man you called absent shows up with a legal plan that starts today? My name is Cordelia Naismith, but everyone called me Cora because Cordelia sounded like a costume. I was 34, and I worked the front desk at a dental clinic. I knew how to smile even when my teeth were tight. I knew how to sound calm on the phone while my mind was loud. People thought I was kind because I remembered birthdays and insurance numbers. I liked that. I liked being the person who held things together. My husband, Mercer, was 36. He managed construction projects. He left early. He came home late. He smelled like dust and coffee. He said he was doing it for us. He said the overtime kept us safe. I heard those words so many times that they started to feel like a wall. I told myself a wall was not a home. We had 2 kids. Maya was 8 and asked questions like she was a small judge. Noah was 5 and copied whatever mood he saw. In the morning, they wanted cereal and cartoons. I wanted help. Evan wanted 5 quiet minutes. It never lined up. That Monday started like most days. Evan stood by the sink with his lunchbox open. He asked if I had seen his work badge. I said it was not my job to track his life. He sighed and checked his pockets again. Maya asked why Dad was always rushing. I told her grown-ups chose what mattered most. Evan looked at me, and he asked why I said it like that. I said I was only answering her. He found the badge on the counter, right beside the mail. He said he was sorry for snapping yesterday. I told him he did not snap, he disappeared. He said he was here now. I said being here was not the same as being with us. He asked what I wanted from him. I said I wanted him to act like a husband, not a visitor who paid bills. He didn't argue. That was the part that made me angry. If he yelled, I could point to it. If he begged, I could feel important. Instead, he put the badge on and kissed Noah's head. He told Maya he would be at her school thing on Friday if the site allowed it. I said the site always allowed it when he wanted. He asked me not to do that in front of the kids. I said the kids already saw the truth. After he left, the house felt too quiet. I watched his car pull out, straight toward the street. I told myself he drove away from us every time. I opened my phone and scrolled like it was a job. My friends had posted weekend photos. Everyone looked bright and free. I felt dull, like a plate left in the sink. At the clinic, I was good at my real job. I checked patients in. I answered calls. I put sticky notes on charts. In the break room, I ate a yogurt and listened to my coworkers talk about dates and trips. One of them asked if Evan and I were doing anything fun. I said Evan was married to work, so I was basically a single mom with a ring. They laughed in that soft way people laugh when they want to be on your side. I liked the sound. It made my story feel true. I told myself I had earned that sympathy. I told myself I was carrying everything. I told myself Evan could carry cement and steel, but he could not carry me. In my head, that sounded fair. My sister Janelle texted me during lunch. She asked how things were at home. I said Evan was gone again, and I added an eye-roll emoji. She said I should stop waiting for him to change. She said I deserved attention. I read that line twice. The word deserved hit me like a warm drink. When I got home, Evan wasn't there yet. I helped Maya with homework. I made Noah wash his hands twice. I cleaned the counter because crumbs made me feel like I was failing. When Evan finally came in, his shoulders dropped like he was carrying the ceiling. He asked what we were having for dinner. I said I didn't know, since I wasn't a restaurant. He looked at the fridge and said he could cook. I said he could cook once a year and call it help. He asked why everything had to be a fight. I said it was not a fight, it was the truth. He started cutting vegetables. He didn't slam anything. He didn't throw words. He moved like a man trying not to make noise. That made me feel invisible. I wanted him to look at me and panic. I wanted him to admit he was wrong. Instead, he asked Maya about school, and he listened. After dinner, Evan asked if the kids could watch one show while he took a shower. I said fine. In the living room, I watched him pass the hallway table. His phone screen lit up with a reminder. I only saw it for a second, but I read part of it. Meeting, personal. It was not a work thing. It was not one of the kids' events. I felt a small spark. I told myself sparks meant fire. Later, I went into the small office room to look for batteries. Evan kept that room neat. He had labeled folders on a shelf. Utilities, household, bank. I told myself that was normal. Still, it looked like a man preparing to leave, not a man building a life. On the desk, the printer tray held a single blank page like it had just been tested. The air smelled faintly like toner. I held the paper and stared at it like it could confess. Evan came in and asked what I was doing. I said I was looking for batteries. He said the batteries were in the drawer by the sink. I said he always knew where everything was, because he controlled the house in his own quiet way. He asked why I made it sound ugly. I said because it felt ugly. He didn't answer. He opened a drawer and took out a tape measure, then put it back. I heard a soft click when he closed it, like it locked. Maybe it didn't. I still heard it. In bed, Evan asked if we could talk without insults. I said, I didn't insult him. I described him. He said he missed us. I said I missed having a husband. He asked what that meant. I said it meant not begging for basic care. He said he was trying. I said trying was not doing. He turned to face the other way. I watched his back and felt both power and fear. I told myself I had the right to look elsewhere if he refused to show up. I told myself loneliness was a kind of emergency. My phone buzzed once on the nightstand. The screen showed a new message from Tyler Gage, the bartender I had met when Janelle dragged me out last month. He said he hoped my day was better than yesterday, and he said he liked talking to me because I felt real. I stared at the words until they stopped looking like ink and started looking like a door. I didn't answer yet, but I didn't delete it either. The next day, I kept thinking about Tyler's message like it was a secret snack in my pocket. I told myself it was only words. I told myself words could not hurt a marriage that was already starving. At the clinic, I was extra bright. I laughed with patients. I used my nicest voice with insurance companies. I acted like a woman with a full life. In the break room, I showed Bree and Keisha a picture of Evan at a site, wearing a hard hat and looking serious. I said he looked more married to concrete than to me. Keisha asked if I had ever tried to compete with his job. I said I had competed for years, and the job always won. Bree said I needed a night out. I said I did not even remember what it felt like to be wanted. I meant it like a joke, but I also meant it like a claim. Janelle started a group chat that afternoon. She named it something dramatic, like Save Cora. She said we should go to a rooftop bar Friday because I needed to breathe. She asked if Evan would watch the kids. I said Evan was never home anyway, so it would not change anything. That line felt clean and sharp in my mouth. I used it again later. When I got home, Evan was already there, which surprised me. He was sitting at the table with Maya's school papers. He had a pen in his hand. He looked like he was trying to be careful, like the paper could bite him. He asked if I could sign something for Friday's event. I said I would do it later. He asked if I knew the time. I said I had told him before, but he never listened. He said he wanted to put it in his calendar. His phone screen lit up, and I saw the same bland format of reminders and meetings. I wondered again about that meeting personal alert. I did not ask. I stored it. He asked if I had plans Friday night. I said I might go out for once. He asked with who. I said friends. He said okay. He said he would figure out dinner for the kids. He didn't guilt me. That was almost insulting. It felt like he did not care. On Friday, I moved through the day like it was a performance. At school, I stood near the back while Maya and other kids did their little presentation. Evan came in late. But he came. He stood by the wall and clapped. He looked tired, but he smiled at Maya. Maya ran to him after and held his hand. I watched them like I was watching strangers. In the car, Evan asked if I wanted to get dinner together after drop-off. I said I already had plans. He asked if we could talk later, after the kids slept. I said he always wanted to talk when I was exhausted. He said he was also exhausted. I said that was his choice. That night, I dressed like I was proving something. I put on lipstick that felt too bold for a tired mom. I told myself it was not for anyone. I told myself it was for me. Janelle picked me up. In the passenger seat, I checked my phone. Tyler had sent another message earlier, short and sweet. He said he hoped I was not letting anyone dim me. I stared at it until Janelle asked who I was texting. I said it was nothing. She smiled like she didn't believe me, but she didn't push. That made it feel normal. At the rooftop bar, the air was cold and loud. The city lights looked like they were trying to impress me. Bree and Keisha were already there, with 2 other friends from their gym. They hugged me and said I looked alive. I felt proud of that word. Alive sounded like a verdict. We sat at a high table. People around us laughed too loudly. Music thumped under everything. Bree asked how things were with Evan. I said he was working so much that the kids forgot his face. It was not true, but it landed well. Keisha said men always acted shocked when their wives gave up. I said I hadn't given up. I was just done being ignored. Janelle said I should say that louder. I laughed and said Evan could not hear me anyway. My phone buzzed again. Tyler sent a selfie from behind a bar, just his face and a half smile. He asked if I was having fun. I typed a reply and erased it. Then I typed again and sent a simple yes. It felt like stepping over a line drawn in chalk. Easy to cross, hard to admit. Bree told me to put Evan on speaker if he called, because it would be funny. I said he would not call. Right then, my phone rang. Evan's name showed on the screen like a dare. I answered and held the phone away from my ear so the table could hear. Evan asked if everything was okay and if I knew when I would be home. I said I was fine, and I said it like I was teaching him a lesson. He asked if the kids were asleep. I said yes, because I had left him to do it. Bree leaned in and waved at the phone, like Evan could see her through sound. Evan asked if I could come back by 11, because Noah had been clingy. I said he was clingy because Evan was never around, and now Evan wanted help for once. Evan went quiet for a beat. He asked me not to talk like that. I said I was not talking. I was telling facts. I heard him breathe, slow and controlled. He said he could handle it, but he wanted to know my plan. I said my plan was to enjoy one night without being managed. He said okay, and he said he hoped I stayed safe. Then he ended the call. Bree frowned and said he was boring. Keisha said he was trying to look like a saint. Janelle said that calm was a trick. I nodded like I agreed, but inside I felt something shift. I had wanted him to yell. I had wanted him to beg. Instead, he had given me permission, like I was a teenager asking for the car. To take back control, I opened my camera and snapped a photo of our drinks and the skyline. Bree leaned in, smiling. Keisha made a face. I posted it to my story. Janelle tagged me and added words like free at last. I told myself it was just a joke. I told myself Evan deserved a little embarrassment since he embarrassed me every day with his absence. Later, when I went to the restroom, I checked my notifications. People were reacting with laughing faces and heart eyes. One coworker wrote, "You deserve this." I stared at that sentence until it felt like proof. Proof that I was right. Proof that my life was too small before. Tyler wrote again. He asked where I was. I told him the name of the bar. Then I paused. Then I added that I was with friends. He said he might stop by after his shift. My stomach tightened, not with fear, but with excitement that felt like power. I told myself I could say no at any time. I told myself I was in charge. When I got home, it was after midnight. The driveway was dark. Evan's car was parked straight and neat. Inside, the house smelled like dish soap. The kitchen counters were wiped clean. 2 mugs sat on opposite sides of the counter, like they belonged to different lives. Evan was awake on the couch, not sleeping, just sitting. The TV was off. He asked if I had a good time. I said yes. He asked if anything happened that he should know. I said he was acting paranoid. He said he was not paranoid, he was a father who needed plans. I said if he wanted plans, he should be home more. He stood up. He didn't step toward me. He didn't block me. He asked if I saw the messages people were tagging him in. I said I had no idea what he meant. He held up his phone, but he didn't shove it in my face. He said he had seen a post that made it look like I was single. I said people read too much into things. He asked why I let them tag me like that. I said because I had friends, and it was not a crime to smile. He nodded once, like he was putting something in a mental box. Then he asked where the kids' weekend schedule paper was, because he wanted to review it. I said he never cared about schedules before. He said he cared now. I watched him walk toward the hallway table. I heard a small, soft vibration from his phone as he moved, and he glanced down like he recognized the alert. I went upstairs and closed the bedroom door, but I did not sleep. I opened my phone under the blanket and stared at Tyler's last message. He wrote that he liked how brave I was. I almost laughed. Brave. It was such an easy word to wear. Saturday came with a thin sunlight that made the kitchen look cleaner than it was. Evan made pancakes for the kids, and he did it without asking for praise. He asked Maya if she wanted blueberries. She said yes. Noah asked for extra syrup. Evan said he could have a little. I watched from the sink and told myself this was him performing, like a man trying to look good for an audience that did not exist. He asked if I had plans later. I said we were going to the community fundraiser because Maya's class was helping. He said he knew, and he said he had it on his calendar. That word bothered me. Calendar. Like he was collecting dates now. He also asked if we could keep things calm there for Maya. I said I was always calm, and I said he was the one who made everything tense. He nodded like he did not accept it, but he also did not fight. At the community hall, there were posters and balloons and parents with coffee cups. The room smelled like sugar and paper. Maya ran to her friends. Evan stood close enough to help, but far enough not to hover. I walked toward the snack table, where Bree and Keisha were already waiting. Janelle joined us with her phone in her hand, ready to capture anything that looked fun. Bree asked how the single mom life was going. I laughed and said it was normal now. Keisha asked if Evan had tried to make it up to me yet. I said he was too busy being married to his job. I made sure I said it loud enough that a few parents nearby could hear. I did not say his name, but I knew people would connect the dots. That felt like power. I told myself I was only telling the truth out loud. Evan walked over a few minutes later with Noah on his hip. Noah's cheeks were sticky from a cupcake sample. Evan asked if Noah could have one more later. I said yes, and I said it like I was granting him access to our life. Evan looked at me like he wanted to say something, then he looked away. Bree smiled too wide and told Evan he looked tired. Evan said the week had been long. Keisha asked if he ever took a day off. Evan said he did when he could, and he said it with the same calm tone. Calm was starting to feel like an insult. I leaned toward Bree and said Evan was acting like a saint now because he knew he was failing at home. Bree laughed. I watched Evan's shoulders tighten for a second. He did not react more than that. He put Noah down and helped him wipe his hands. Then he walked to the raffle table and bought tickets for Maya's class. He did it quietly, like he was buying silence. Janelle filmed a short clip of the kids dancing to a silly song. She panned the camera across the room and caught Evan in the background. Later, she showed me the clip and said Evan looked like a stranger at his own family event. I said that was how it always was. I told myself I was protecting my image. If people thought I was the lonely wife, then any choice I made later would seem reasonable. I still think that logic made sense in the moment. A woman from Maya's class walked up and asked if Evan could help lift some boxes after the event. Evan said yes. I jumped in and said he loved lifting boxes, since he did it more than parenting. The woman laughed awkwardly and walked away. Evan looked at me and asked if we could not do that here. I said he was too sensitive, and I said he should be glad I still brought him to family things. His mouth opened like he might argue, but then he closed it. He picked up a clipboard and started helping the organizer instead. I felt annoyed that my words did not land the way I wanted. I wanted a scene. I wanted him to give me something solid to blame. Instead, he acted like a careful man. I watched him check his phone once, quick, like he was looking at a reminder. His screen flashed, and I saw a small banner that said something like, "File uploaded successfully." He swiped it away. The message was gone. My mind filled the empty space with a story. I told myself he was storing secrets. I told myself it was only fair if I had my own. After the fundraiser, I told Evan I needed air. He asked if I wanted him to come. I said no, because I did not need a supervisor. He said he would take the kids home and start dinner. I said fine. Maya asked if I was coming. I told her I would be right behind them. Evan looked at me and asked if that was true. I said yes, and my voice was sweet enough to be believable. I drove to the riverside promenade and parked. The water was grey and moving slow. People walked dogs and held hands. I sat on a bench and checked my phone. Tyler had sent a message that morning, asking how my weekend was. I answered that I was stressed and tired of being alone. He replied fast and said I should not have to beg for love. That line slid into me like it belonged there. He asked where I was. I told him the riverside. I added that it was nothing, just a walk. He said he could meet for a few minutes. I stared at the screen and told myself it was still harmless. I told myself it was only a talk with someone who listened. I said yes. Tyler arrived in a hoodie and sneakers, looking relaxed, like life did not press on him. He asked how I was holding up. I said Evan treated me like furniture. He shook his head and said I deserved more. He asked if Evan knew how close he was to losing me. I said Evan did not notice anything unless it was a bill. We walked along the water. Tyler asked what Evan did all day. I said he worked, and then he came home and acted like he was doing me a favor. Tyler said that sounded lonely. I said it was lonely. He asked if I ever thought of leaving. I said I had kids, and I was not a bad person. Even as I said it, I felt the lie sit heavy. Tyler said wanting love did not make me bad. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. When we reached a quiet spot, Tyler stepped closer. He touched my arm in a way that felt like attention. I let it happen. I told myself it was not cheating if my husband had already left me emotionally. I told myself emotional abandonment was the first betrayal. Tyler leaned in like he might kiss me. I turned my face slightly, so it was only near my cheek. That small move let me pretend I still had control. Then I saw Maya. She was a few steps away with Evan, holding a small paper bag from a snack cart. Evan must have decided to bring the kids for a short walk after dinner. Maya's eyes were wide and still. Evan's face went blank, like he was shutting a door inside himself. Noah was busy with his snack and did not notice. Evan walked closer and asked who Tyler was. I said Tyler was a friend from Janelle's circle. Evan asked why a friend needed to stand that close. I said Evan was imagining things because he was insecure. Evan looked at Tyler and asked if he could step back. Tyler stepped back, smiling like he enjoyed the tension. Evan did not touch him. Evan did not threaten him. Evan only nodded once, like he had seen enough. Maya asked if Tyler was coming to our house. I said no, and I said it too fast. Evan asked Maya and Noah to walk ahead to the next bench. He said he wanted to talk to me for a minute. I told him he was making a scene. Evan said I was the one who made scenes, and he said it quietly. That was new. It landed harder than shouting. He asked if I was having an affair. I said he was crazy for saying that. I said he was never home, so of course people talked to me. Evan said talking was one thing, and hiding was another. I said I was not hiding. Evan looked at my phone in my hand, and he looked back at my face. He asked if I could come home now for the kids. I said I would come when I wanted, because I was not his employee. He nodded again. He told Tyler to have a good night, in a flat voice. Then he walked toward the kids. Maya kept turning to look back at me, like she was trying to understand what kind of person her mother was. In the car ride home, Evan did not argue. He did not punish. He drove with both hands on the wheel. At a red light, I heard a soft beep from his pocket, like a recording app starting, but I could not be sure. He did not look at me. He only looked forward, calm and focused, like a man aiming at something far ahead. Sunday morning felt like a hangover without alcohol. My head was clear, but my chest was tight. Evan moved through the house like a quiet worker. He made toast for Noah. He braided Maya's hair the way I usually did. He did not ask me where I had been. He did not ask about Tyler again. That silence made me feel accused. I tried to start a normal talk. I asked Evan why he was acting strange. He said he was not strange. He was tired. I said he was punishing me with silence. He said he was choosing peace for the kids. I told him peace was just another word for control. He looked at me and said control was what I was trying to keep. I laughed and said he was copying therapy words from the internet. He did not react. He only picked up plates and put them in the sink. The guest bed looked slightly disturbed when I walked past the spare room. A blanket was folded too neatly at the end. Evan had slept there, and he had done it without announcing it. I told myself it was a tactic. If he moved out of our bed, then he could say I pushed him away. I told myself I should not let him build that story. My mother called around noon. Sharon asked if we were coming to dinner with everyone. She said my father wanted a family reset. I told her it was perfect timing because Evan needed to hear from other adults. She asked what that meant. I said Evan was neglecting me and acting cold. She sighed and said a woman could not live on bills alone. I felt supported. I needed that support like a shield. At the family restaurant, the lighting was warm and the table was too long. My sister Janelle was already there, bouncing her knee under the table. My parents sat on one side, and Evan's parents, Patricia and Robert, sat on the other. It looked like a meeting, not a meal. Maya and Noah sat between Evan and me, like small buffers. The server asked what we wanted to drink. Evan said he wanted water. I said I wanted something sweet. Evan looked at me like he knew I was not talking about a drink. I looked away first, and that made me angry at myself. Glenn, my father, asked how Evan's job was going. Evan said the project was heavy but stable. Sharon asked if stable meant Evan would be home more. Evan said he was working on balance. I jumped in and said balance was not a goal, it was a duty. Evan asked me to let him answer. I said he had years to answer and never did. Janelle said Evan acted like a roommate. She said she saw me alone all the time. Evan asked what alone meant when he did school pickups and bedtime often. I laughed and said he did the bare minimum and wanted a medal. Patricia cleared her throat and said Evan had been carrying a lot. I said Patricia would always defend him. Patricia said she defended facts, not feelings. I rolled my eyes and said facts were easy when you avoided hard conversations. Robert, Evan's father, asked me what I wanted exactly. I said I wanted a husband who wanted me back. Evan asked what that meant in real life. I said it meant dates, talk, affection, and respect. Evan said respect was hard when I mocked him in public. I told him I did not mock him. I told the truth. Glenn stared at me for a long time, like he was measuring my words. Sharon said a wife should not have to beg. Evan nodded and said he agreed. Then he said he also should not have to accept humiliation. He said he wanted the kids to hear kind voices at home. I said he was twisting it. I said he humiliated me by choosing work. Evan said work was how he kept the mortgage paid. I said money was not love. Evan said love did not give someone permission to lie. The table went quiet for a second. Maya asked if we were mad at each other. Evan said nobody was mad at her. I said we were only talking. Maya said she did not like talking like this. Evan told her they could go to the restroom and wash hands. He took both kids and walked away from the table. He did not storm. He did not slam a chair. He simply removed them from the heat, like a man trained in safety. When he was gone, Janelle leaned close and said Evan was acting like a victim. I said he was. Sharon said men always played calm when they planned something. Glenn told Sharon to stop feeding fear. Glenn looked at me and asked if I had done something I was hiding. I said I had done nothing, and I said it too fast. Glenn said he did not believe fast answers. I snapped that he was not on my side. Glenn said he was on the side of the grandchildren. Evan came back with the kids. Noah had wet hands and wiped them on his shirt. Evan asked the server for extra napkins. He smiled at Noah like nothing was wrong. That smile felt like a mask, and I hated it. The food arrived. People tried to eat while the air stayed tense. Evan asked Maya about her book. Maya answered in short sentences. I tried to pull her back to me with my hand on her shoulder. She leaned away slightly. That small movement hurt more than I wanted to admit. Halfway through dinner, Evan's phone vibrated. He glanced down, and I saw no caller ID flash for a moment. He did not answer. He put the phone face down. Sharon noticed and asked who was calling. Evan said it was nothing important. I said he had secrets too. Evan looked at me and said everyone had privacy, but not everyone used privacy to harm. Sharon stiffened. Janelle whispered that he was accusing me. I said he was. On the way out, Evan held the kids' hands and walked ahead. Patricia touched my arm and said we should keep this respectful for the children. I said Patricia should tell her son to come home more. Patricia said he came home, and she said the difference was that he came home calm. She looked at me and said calm did not mean weak. I pulled my arm away and said she did not know our marriage. In the parking lot, Evan asked if we could stop by the supermarket for school snacks. I said he was acting like a hero now. He said he was acting like a parent. I told him he was doing it to look good after embarrassing me. He asked how he embarrassed me. I said he embarrassed me by making me feel unwanted for years. He stared ahead and said feelings were real, but choices still mattered. Monday afternoon, I sat in the school pickup line with the sun in my eyes. Parents chatted through open windows. One mum asked if Evan was working again. I smiled and said he was always working. Then Evan's car pulled in behind me. He parked neatly. He got out with a calm face and walked toward Maya's classroom door like it was normal. A parent waved and said it was nice Evan could make it. I laughed and said he was probably tracking hours like it was a job. Evan heard it. He did not react. He only nodded at the parent and waited. When Maya came out, she ran to Evan first. Evan lifted her backpack strap back onto her shoulder. He asked how her day was. She said it was fine. Noah came next, and Evan picked him up for a second, then put him down gently. Evan told me he would take them home and start homework. I said I had things to do. He asked what things. I said I did not owe him a schedule. At home, I walked into the office room and saw his laptop open for a moment. A spreadsheet grid was on the screen, plain and silent. No title I could see, just columns and dates. Evan came in behind me and closed it without anger. He asked me not to go through his work. I said he was hiding something. He said he was organizing life. On the desk, a small sticky note was stuck near the lamp. It said, in clean handwriting, "Bring forms." I stared at that note and felt a chill. I told myself it was for work. I told myself it was nothing. Still, my mouth went dry, and I did not know why. Evan walked past me and checked the lock on the file drawer with a soft click, like a habit. He did not look at me when he did it. He only said the kids needed dinner soon, and his voice sounded steady, like he had already made decisions I could not touch. By Tuesday, I felt like I was living next to a stranger who knew my schedule better than I did. Evan did not chase me. He did not accuse me in front of the kids. He did not slam doors. He just got quieter and more exact, like a man measuring a room before he moved furniture. I tried to pull him back into the old pattern, because the old pattern made me feel powerful. If he argued, I could say he was abusive with words. If he begged, I could say he was weak. If he stayed calm, I had nothing to hold up. That calm made me feel exposed. That morning, I told him I might take the kids to my mom's for a few days, just to get space. I said it at the kitchen counter, with my coffee in my hand like I was announcing a normal plan. Evan looked at me and asked if the kids knew. I said they did not need to know yet. He nodded once and asked what days, exactly. I said he was proving my point because he cared more about logistics than feelings. He said feelings mattered, but the kids needed stability. He asked if I had packed anything. I said I had not. He said okay, and he went back to rinsing a plate. He did not tell me not to go. He did not beg me to stay. Maya watched us from the doorway. She asked if she was going to Grandma's. I told her maybe, because adults needed breaks sometimes. Evan told Maya she would still go to school and still see both parents. Maya asked how he knew. Evan said he planned for school because school did not pause for adult problems. Maya looked at him like she trusted that sentence. That made my stomach tighten. At work, I tried to keep my mind on real tasks. A patient complained about a bill. A hygienist asked for a schedule change. I handled it all. Still, every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped. I kept imagining Evan doing something behind my back. I kept telling myself he was the type to act calm while he plotted. That thought helped me feel like a victim again. Tyler texted around lunch. He asked if I was okay. I said I was stressed because Evan was acting cold and weird. Tyler said, cold men pushed women to do what they had to do. He said I should stop feeling guilty for wanting a life. I liked how he made my choices sound like nature, not decisions. He suggested we meet at the gym lobby after his afternoon training session. He said we could talk and breathe. I told myself it was safe because it was public. I told myself public meant innocent. I agreed. After work, I drove to the gym and sat in my car for a minute, watching people come and go. Couples walked in together. Friends laughed. Nobody looked guilty. I told myself guilt was for people who did wrong things, and I was only trying to survive. Tyler came out wearing a clean jacket and that easy smile. He asked if I'd eaten. I said no because I was always taking care of everyone else. He said I should let someone take care of me for once. I told him Evan never did. Tyler shook his head like he was sorry for me. I felt important again. We stood near the entrance where people could see us. Tyler asked what Evan said about the riverside. I said Evan acted calm, like he did not care. Tyler said calm was fake. He said a real man would fight for his wife. He asked if Evan even wanted me. I said Evan wanted a house and a clean schedule, not me. Tyler said I should choose myself. That word, choose, sounded like freedom. It also sounded like blame. I didn't say that part out loud. Tyler asked if we could see each other later in the week, somewhere quieter. I said I had kids. He said that was why I deserved something good, because I carried so much. He said he could be patient if I was serious. The way he said serious felt like a test. I hated tests, but I also wanted to pass. I drove home with my hands tight on the steering wheel. The house was lit, warm from inside. Evan's car was in the driveway, pointed toward the street again, like he was ready to leave at any time. I told myself he wanted to scare me with that. I told myself I would not be scared. Inside, Evan had already started dinner. The kids were at the table drawing. Maya showed Evan a picture and asked if it was good. Evan said it was good, and he asked her why she chose those colors. He sounded gentle. Noah asked Evan to play after dinner. Evan said yes, for a little while. Evan did not look at me when he said it, but he made sure the kids heard him. It was like he was building a record of being present. After dinner, Evan took the kids to the living room and played a simple game with them. I stood near the hallway and watched. I wanted to feel warmth. Instead, I felt like I was outside glass. When the kids went upstairs to brush teeth, Evan asked if we could talk in the stairwell, away from them. He did not raise his voice. He asked where I had been after work. I said errands. He asked what errands. I said he was interrogating me. He said he was asking because he needed honest information to plan the week. I said he only wanted to plan because he didn't love me. Evan said love did not survive lies. I told him he was making up lies because he wanted to be the victim. Evan said he was not a victim, he was a father. He said he would not argue in circles anymore. He said he would not chase me anymore. I said good, because chasing was pathetic. I said if he didn't chase, then he didn't care. Evan said caring and chasing were not the same thing. I tried a different tactic. I softened my voice and said I was lonely. I said I felt unseen. I said I had begged him for years. Evan listened without interrupting. That should have felt like a win. Instead, it felt like he was collecting my words, not receiving them. He asked if there was someone else. I laughed and said he was paranoid again. Evan did not argue about the word paranoid. He only said he would not live in confusion anymore. He said if I wanted out, I should say it plainly. I said I didn't want out. I said I wanted him to change. Evan asked what change looked like. I said it looked like him quitting work for me. Evan said he could not quit feeding the family to prove love. Maya called from the top step and asked if we were fighting. Evan told her no, and he told her to finish brushing. I told Maya we were only talking. Maya said she didn't like our talking voice. Evan looked up at her and said he understood. When Maya and Noah went into their rooms, Evan came back down one step and looked at me straight. His face was calm, but his eyes were hard in a quiet way. He said he would handle everything properly. He said it slowly, like it was a promise he had already signed inside his head. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to call him dramatic. Instead, my throat tightened. Because for the first time, I believed him. I walked into the office tower lobby like I was going to win an argument with my face. I had told Evan to meet me there because I wanted privacy and control. I said we would talk like adults. He said he would only talk about the kids and schedules. He stood near the glass doors with his hands empty and his posture calm, like he was waiting for a bus. Sharon came with me because she said I needed support. Janelle came too, already holding her phone low like she might record for safety. Evan's mother, Patricia, arrived a minute later and nodded at Evan like she already knew the plan. That irritated me. It felt like they had a meeting without me. A woman in a plain blazer walked up and asked if I was Cordelia Naismith. I said yes and asked who she was. She said she was there to serve documents. I laughed and said Evan was being dramatic. Evan didn't smile. He only said the process had started and it would stay respectful. The woman handed me an envelope and asked me to confirm my name again. I said it louder, like volume could change reality. Sharon asked what it was. I opened it and saw divorce papers and temporary orders. My eyes snagged on the lines about custody, school pickups, and a communication app. I saw a rule about not introducing new partners around the kids for a set time. My mouth went dry. I told Evan he was trying to punish me. He said he was trying to protect the children and finances, and he said the court would not care about my excuses. I said he was cold. He said he was lawful. Maya and Noah walked in with Patricia, still chewing snacks. Maya looked at my face and asked what happened. Evan told Patricia to take them to lunch and said he would follow the schedule starting today. Patricia took their hands and led them away. I looked for Tyler's name on my phone and saw nothing new. Evan nodded once, turned, and walked out through the lobby doors.